No, I actually joined in 2003, and I was my predecessor, John Hoy's first recruit. I arrived something like 3 months after he arrived. And so I've served as finance director here from 2003 through to the end of last year as part of, I think, a relatively successful and stable team. And I was delighted to be offered the opportunity to step into his fairly sizable shoes in January this year. Prior to that, I trained as a chartered accountant with KPMG up in Liverpool. I then specialised in corporate finance and worked with 2 different investment banks from 97 to about 2003. And the highlights of that time included deals to help Bob the Builder buy Barney the Purple Dinosaur and Thomas the Tank Engine. So these were happy times, but I think my children had reached an age and I'd reached a point where I really wanted to set down roots closer to home. So the Blenheim Palace opportunity, which is so synonymous with all that's great about Oxford, was the perfect place for me to land, and I've been very happy here. Big, expansive plans. I mean, the first thing I always stress is the period that John and I were working together here was enormously successful. So while we are changing many things, that's in no way a disavowal of the past. It's more a reflection that John built such a strong set of businesses here that we could actually take on bigger and better goals. So we thought long and hard about what a landed estate could really be. When you say the word landed estate and you speak of aristocracy, then we think of old eras gone by and the idea is something that's lost in time. It's a bit out of place. And you ask yourself, would you invent a landed estate today if it didn't already exist? And we reflected a lot on that, and I think we reached the conclusion that landed estates were actually pretty unique things. We combine elements of commercial enterprise with elements of public sector, with elements of charity. So as a commercial enterprise, we can deploy capital for profit, and let's make no mistake, we are here to do that. We're a profit-making entity. But at the same time, like many public sector bodies and local government, we are completely grounded in this area. There's no future for Blenheim where we decide that this old building here is very expensive to heat and maintain. We're going to move to a new build in Wiltshire. That can't happen. And we own so much of this area, and we have so many people in the community who work for us, we could never walk away. So that, if you combine those 2 elements, that gives us the almost unique ability to invest into this local area, knowing that we can wait for the very long term for the returns. And as a charity, with the support of the Duke and trustees, we can support purely charitable objectives, we can hand over money for good causes, and I'm delighted to say we've established a practice of doing that in significant sums. But again, these things still come back to the same idea. It's all the different ways in which we can enhance this area and make life better here. So having reflected on that uniqueness, we decided we were happy in our own skin. We were comfortable doing what we could do, and we set out a bold vision to be the lifeblood of the local economy, to enhance the lives of local people, and to share and protect this extraordinary place. And we translate those big words into 10 very specific goals, which explain to the world, well, what do we mean by enhancing the local economy or improving the lives of local people? And those goals start with, and these are all 10-year goals, and we've put out clear numbered measurements against them. So the first goal is to triple our contribution to the local economy over 10 years, independently measured, and we're just in the process of measuring our first year now. The second goal is to train more than 100 apprentices over 10 years in a uniquely broad range of crafts, and we've already started that, and our first apprentices include apprentices in shepherding as well as apprentices in marketing, and I think there's something wonderful in that breadth. The third goal, and this one will be very, very big indeed, is to house more than 300 families in inspirationally good and truly affordable accommodation. We think the accommodation market is incredibly expensive in Oxfordshire, and even affordable accommodation simply isn't. We're determined to completely transform that landscape, and we have exciting plans to announce there. Our fourth goal is to build up the business, which is our lifeblood. It gives us the funds to fund training and everything else. That's our visitor attraction business. And we intend to grow that to 750,000 paying visitors, which will mean more than likely about 1.2 million total visitors in a year over the next 10 years. Moving away from that business, we have a goal to become a net generator of green energy. We currently generate about, in green methods, about 15% of the energy we consume, but we're determined to rapidly move that to more than 100%. The next goal will be to be a top 100 employer. And in some ways, this is the most important goal of all of them, because if we can't do that, if we can't earn the right to employ great staff and allow them to express themselves in the business, then we'll never achieve any of our broader goals. Moving on, we have set out on what we think is the biggest restoration programme ever attempted in Europe. We will invest more than £40 million in restoring Blenheim over the next 10 years. And to support that thereafter, we aim to build an endowment fund of more than £45 million to ensure that no future Duke ever has to worry about the money to put the roof on. Now, this sounds self-serving, but of course, Blenheim Palace is such a large economic pillar for the area that in doing so, what we're trying to do is guarantee the economic vitality of this area and the employment scene going forward. We'd also like to bring back some of the old collection. I think for 300 years, Blenheim was a selling and a shrinking estate on the whole, and we're very determined to mark that change. We've already done it in terms of property. We've been building at a big pace over the last 10 years, but we also want to mark it by bringing back some of the old artwork and the collections that we've lost, even if they're just loaned. We want to double our charitable contribution to the area over the next 10 years. That's very, very important to us. And I think that as a collection is a set of goals that covers all of our businesses, but they all point back, each one of them, to that initial vision, which is we want to be the economic lifeblood of the area, we want to enhance the lives of local people, and we want to share and protect this extraordinary place.